There comes a moment in every person's life when silence screams louder than noise, when the world feels like it's crushing your spirit and no one claps when you're bleeding through your grind. But listen, this is exactly where champions are born. This is where the average break and the few rise. You want a strong mindset? Then stop begging for motivation. You don't need more quotes. You need war inside your soul. Mindset isn't a gift. It's a forged weapon built through pain, repetition, and cold discipline. While the world sleeps, you must rise. When they party, you work. When comfort calls, you fight it. Most people are living on autopilot, soft, distracted, weak. But you were built for more. The fire in your chest, that's the real you trying to break out. Let it. Stop blaming, stop whining. You want power? Then take responsibility for every damn thing. It's you versus you every single day. And if you're not training your mind, you're surrendering it. You must become unshakable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get harder. The strong mindset isn't born. It's built in silence, tested in chaos, and revealed in victory. Discipline is stronger than motivation. Build habits, not hope. That one sentence carries the weight of transformation, but most people don't want to hear it because it demands something far more difficult than excitement consistency. Motivation feels good. It's loud, it's exciting, it rushes through your veins and makes you feel like a superhero for about an hour. But discipline is the cold, silent force that doesn't need to feel good to do what's required. It doesn't ask how you feel. It doesn't care if it's raining, if you're tired, if you had a long day. Discipline doesn't negotiate, it commands. This is the truth most avoid because it sounds brutal, maybe even heartless. But reality doesn't care about your feelings. The winners, the ones with strong, iron-forged mindsets, they know something the rest of the world ignores. Motivation fades. And when it does, your habits are all that carry you forward. If you're relying on how inspired you feel to show up, to push, to sacrifice, then you're already losing. The gym doesn't care about your mood. The business world doesn't wait for your vibes. Your dreams don't respond to feelings. They respond to action, and action is governed by discipline. Think about it. How many times have you felt pumped up after watching a video, listening to a podcast, or reading a quote only to crash the next morning when life gets real? That spark dies because motivation is a spark. It's not a flame. It starts the fire, but it can't sustain it. Discipline is the wood you keep throwing on the fire. It's the act of doing it again and again and again, especially when you don't want to. You show up not because you're inspired, but because you said you would, because it's who you are. Motivation gives you temporary power. Discipline builds permanent character, and that character becomes your identity. If you build the habit of showing up regardless of your emotional state, you become dependable to yourself first and foremost. That's where self-respect is born, not in success, but in consistency. When you keep your promises to yourself, even in private, you begin to trust yourself. And that self-trust turns into strength, real, unshakable strength. Not fake confidence that rises and falls with results, but the kind that's built on evidence. The kind that says, I know I will do this because I've done it before, no matter how I felt. Too many people sit around hoping for the right mood, the right time, the perfect plan. Hope is cheap. Hope is passive. Hope is a beggar's mindset. It waits, it fantasizes, but discipline is active. It moves, it builds. It creates the world you want, one unglamorous rep at a time. Hope wants results now. Discipline is willing to suffer for years without applause because it knows greatness comes to those who keep swinging the axe long after the crowd stops watching. You want to change your life? Don't wait for motivation to strike. Design your day around discipline. Build systems so tight your laziness doesn't even get a chance to breathe. Set your alarm. Prepare your clothes. Write your plan the night before. Remove the friction between you and the task. And when the alarm goes off, don't think, act. Don't reason with your emotions. You don't need to feel like doing it to do it. You just need to do it. That's how warriors are built. This is where people fail. They think discipline is harsh, that it takes away freedom. But the truth is, discipline is the ultimate freedom. When you own your day, your habits, your time, you own your future. The man who cannot command himself is a slave to the world. He reacts to life. But the disciplined man creates life. He walks into chaos with clarity because his mind isn't cluttered by emotional noise. He knows what needs to be done, and he does it. And understand this, it's not about being perfect. Our discipline is not about never failing. It's about getting back on track faster than anyone else. Discipline gives you bounce back power. You miss one day, fine. You don't miss two. You lose a fight. You study, adjust, and come back sharper. You stumble, you tighten the routine. Every mistake becomes a refinement, not a regret. That's the power of habits backed by discipline. They correct themselves over time. So stop trying to feel right all the time. Start doing what's right. Build rituals, not resolutions. Set non-negotiables. Create structure. The strongest minds in the world don't wake up wondering what they'll do. They wake up and execute a plan that's already been set. Because discipline isn't a mood, it's a muscle. And like any muscle, it grows with stress and repetition. The more you do the hard thing, the easier it becomes. Eventually, waking up early, hitting the gym, studying your craft. It's not willpower anymore, it's just who you are. Let others chase temporary highs. Let them ride the roller coaster of motivation, up one week and crashing the next. You build your kingdom brick by brick, hour by hour, no matter what. Because in the end, the world bows to the one who shows up every day with fire in his heart and discipline in his blood. Motivation might get you started, but only discipline will carry you across the finish line. And once you understand that deeply, not just in theory, but in practice, you become unstoppable. That's when the shift happens. That's when you look in the mirror and realize you're not just chasing greatness, you are becoming it. Or destroy your excuses before they destroy your potential. That's not just advice, it's a warning. Because every excuse you allow into your life is a seed planted in the soil of mediocrity. And if you keep watering those excuses with justification, self-pity, and laziness, they will grow into a wall that cages you in forever. Excuses are the most dangerous lies because they're dressed up as reasons. They sound smart. They feel valid. But deep down, they are nothing but poison that kills your progress in silence. Look at your life right now. Be honest. Every area where you are not where you want to be, your body, your money, your mindset, your skills, is most likely being held hostage by an excuse you've allowed to take root. I don't have time. I'm too tired. I wasn't born with talent. I don't have the right support. These statements aren't facts. They are emotional shields that protect you from facing discomfort. But they also shield you from growth, strength, and success. The truth is, no one cares about your excuses. Life doesn't care. The world isn't going to pause because you had it rough. There are people out there right now with less than you, doing more than you. People who grew up in worse situations with fewer resources, with more pain, and they still found a way. Why? Because they chose responsibility over excuse. They chose to rise instead of rationalize. And that's the difference between people who make it and people who stay stuck. It's not just talent, it's not just luck, it's refusal. A refusal to allow excuses to dictate the direction of their lives. Excuses are seductive because they make you feel safe. They give you a story that makes failure okay. They let you sleep at night knowing you tried. But listen carefully, the mind will always choose comfort unless you train it to chase challenge. Excuses keep you comfortable. They let you off the hook. But the hook is exactly where you need to stay if you want to evolve. You need to hold yourself accountable to the standard of your potential, not your feelings. Every time you make an excuse, you reinforce a pattern of weakness, and weakness compounds. You've got to become ruthless with your inner dialogue. The moment your mind starts whispering those soft lies, it's not the right time, you're not ready, maybe tomorrow, you've got to shut it down. Cut it at the root. Don't give it room to breathe. The stronger your excuses become, the weaker your future gets. You either feed your excuses or you feed your potential. You don't get to do both. And don't confuse excuses with obstacles. Obstacles are real. Excuses are reactions. Life is going to throw problems in your path. That's a guarantee. But the way you respond to those problems is entirely up to you. Excuses are optional. You can choose to face the obstacle head on, or you can choose to let it define you. But if you surrender to it, if you tell yourself you can't because of it, then you're giving away your power. And once you give away your power, don't be surprised when life walks all over you. Here's the harsh truth. Most people lose before they even start because they talk themselves out of trying. They let fear dress itself up as logic. They label procrastination as patience. They tell themselves they're waiting for the right moment when what they're really doing is hiding. Every excuse you allow becomes a brick in the wall between you and your future. And over time, that wall becomes so tall, you can't even see the life you were meant to live. You've got to destroy that wall, brick by brick, excuse by excuse. Rip them apart until there's nothing left but responsibility. That's where real freedom lives, in owning everything, even the parts that hurt, especially the parts that hurt. The moment you stop blaming your past, your parents, your boss, your circumstances, that's the moment you take control, not just of your actions, but of your identity. You stop being a victim of your life and become the architect of it. And once you've destroyed your excuses, something incredible happens. You start seeing possibilities where you used to see problems. You start thinking, how can I? Instead of I can't. Your focus shifts from barriers to breakthroughs. You stop looking for reasons to quit and start hunting for reasons to keep going. That's when momentum takes over. That's when growth compounds. That's when you become dangerous to mediocrity because you no longer need permission to rise. Let others cling to their excuses like a comfort blanket. Let them build stories around why they're not ready, why it's too hard, why it's not fair. But you set fire to that blanket. You look those lies in the face and say, not me, not anymore, because you understand that excuses aren't just delaying success. They're destroying it. Slowly, quietly, relentlessly. So how do you destroy excuses? First, expose them. Call them out by name. Be brutally honest with yourself. Write down every excuse you've used in the last month, every justification, every complaint, every story you've told yourself to avoid doing the work. Then challenge them. Ask, is this true or is this convenient? Most of the time, you'll realize it's just your fear wearing a mask. Next, replace the excuse with action. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. Stop overthinking. Stop waiting for clarity. Move. Progress loves movement. Confidence loves evidence. The more you act despite the excuse, the weaker it becomes. And finally, build an identity around execution. Tell yourself daily, I am the kind of person who does what needs to be done, no matter what. When that becomes your standard, excuses don't even enter the equation anymore. Because here's the truth that will either set you free or haunt you. Your potential is limitless, but it is not guaranteed. It must be claimed. And the price is your excuses. Either you burn them or they burn you. The choice is yours. Embrace discomfort. It is the gym for your mind. Most people run from discomfort like it's a disease. The moment something feels hard, unfamiliar, awkward, or painful, they retreat. They hide in comfort zones, behind easy routines, numbing habits, and fake positivity. But the truth is this. Everything you want in life, every ounce of growth, power, strength, and self-respect lies beyond the edge of comfort. Discomfort is not your enemy. It's your trainer. It's the mental weight room where your mindset is torn, rebuilt, and fortified. Without it, you stay soft, stagnant, and weak mentally and emotionally. Look around. The world is obsessed with ease. Fast food, fast results, quick dopamine, instant gratification. Everyone wants shortcuts, hacks, and secrets, but nobody wants to suffer. Nobody wants to lean into the pressure. And that's exactly why most people never rise above average. They think comfort equals happiness. But what they find is a life full of regret, frustration, and silent misery. Because true happiness, the kind that's built on pride and earned self-worth, only comes from growth, and growth demands pain. If you want to build a strong mind, you must stop looking at discomfort as punishment and start seeing it as preparation. Just like in the gym, the muscles you tear are the ones that rebuild stronger. The soreness is proof of effort. The struggle is evidence of progress, and the same applies to your thoughts, your focus, your habits. Every time you face a fear, take on a challenge, or push past your limits, you're adding mental mass. You're building resilience. You're turning yourself into someone who doesn't fold when life hits hard, but stands up calm and ready. Discomfort teaches you how to stay calm in chaos. It shows you what you're made of. When you're sweating, shaking, failing, and still moving forward, that's the moment your mind is getting forged. That's the exact point where most people quit and where winners are made, because anyone can move when it's easy. Anyone can feel strong when things go right. But your character, your edge, is built in the moments where everything in you screams to stop and you keep going. Discomfort isn't something to avoid, it's something to schedule. You should seek it out daily. That means waking up earlier than you want. It means doing that extra set, that extra hour of work, that hard conversation you've been avoiding. It means showing up when your emotions tell you not to. It means doing things you suck at until you get better. Most importantly, it means sitting with failure, sitting with silence, sitting with boredom, and not running to distractions, but staying present, letting it sharpen you. It's not about torturing yourself. It's about training yourself. The more time you spend in discomfort, the more control you gain over your mind. Most people are controlled by feelings. If something feels wrong, they avoid it. But a warrior trains themselves to move toward the resistance because they know comfort is where dreams die. Comfort is where potential decays. If you never push your limits, you'll never discover your power. Think about any great achievement in your life or anyone's life. It didn't come from staying safe. It came from risk, from sweat, from uncertainty. Discomfort is the door you must walk through to earn anything real. You can either live with the temporary pain of effort or the permanent pain of regret. But you can't avoid pain altogether. One leads to power. The other leads to weakness. Most people have trained their minds to escape discomfort the second it hits. Their first instinct is to quit, delay, distract, or complain. But if you can reverse that instinct, if you can train yourself to feel discomfort and lean into it instead of away from it, you become unbreakable. You develop what most lack: grit. Grit isn't talent. Grit isn't motivation. Grit is your ability to stay in discomfort without panicking, without giving up, without needing to feel good. Because here's the truth, you won't always feel good. There will be days you feel lost, tired, hopeless, but discomfort builds the inner strength to keep going anyway. It builds the discipline to act without emotion. It builds the sharpness to focus under pressure. And that is what separates leaders from followers, winners from watchers. That is the invisible edge, the power of the mind trained under discomfort. And here's the wild part. The more you embrace discomfort, the less power it has over you. What used to scare you becomes routine. What once crushed you becomes easy. You stretch, you grow, you adapt. Suddenly you're doing things others still make excuses about. Not because you're special, but because you did what they avoided. You walked through the fire they ran from. You didn't choose the easy path. You chose the path that transforms. You don't get stronger by accident. You get stronger by exposure. You must expose your mind to pressure. Put yourself in situations where you might fail, where you might look stupid, where you don't feel ready. That's how you expand. That's how you evolve. You don't wait until you're confident. You act while you're uncertain. Because discomfort is the price of every worthwhile thing: confidence, mastery, peace, respect, wealth, freedom. You can't buy those with comfort. You earn them in the trenches. And when you start to feel that resistance rise, that anxiety, that tension, that's not a signal to stop. That's the green light. That's your body saying, we're entering the growth zone. Your heart pounding? Good. Your legs shaking? Good. Your mind telling you to quit? Good. Because if it was easy, it wouldn't change you. Every rep of discomfort is a rep of transformation. Every time you stay in the storm just a little longer, you separate yourself from the ones who didn't. The truth is, life will always bring discomfort whether you seek it or not. So you might as well build the strength to handle it. Voluntary discomfort, training, discipline, challenge is how you armor your mind before the real battles hit. Because when life breaks, when the world crashes, when nothing makes sense, it won't be motivation that saves you. It'll be your tolerance for pain, your ability to stay steady while others panic, your mental toughness forged in the gym of discomfort. So make a decision. Stop chasing ease. Chase growth. Stop looking for peace through pleasure. Find it through progress. Use discomfort as your training ground. Every cold shower, every missed comfort, every difficult task is a brick in the foundation of your power. And when you become the kind of person who not only endures discomfort, but thrives in it, there is nothing this world can throw at you that you cannot handle. Cut out weak influences. You become what you tolerate. That's not a metaphor, it's reality. Your environment shapes your mind more than you think. The people around you, the content you consume, the conversations you entertain, these things are carving your mindset every single day. Whether you're conscious of it or not, you are becoming a reflection of what you allow. If you surround yourself with lazy, negative, excuse-making people, don't be surprised when you start thinking, talking, and acting the same way. You can have the biggest dreams in the world, but if your circle is small-minded, weak-spirited, and fear-driven, those dreams will suffocate. Most people stay stuck not because they don't have potential, but because they're tolerating an environment that kills it. Weak influences aren't always obvious. They're not just toxic people screaming in your face. Sometimes they come dressed as comfort, as lifelong friends who mean well but laugh when you try to level up, as coworkers who tell you to relax when you're working late, as influencers promoting distraction over discipline, as family members who project their limitations onto you and call it realism. These influences are like slow-acting poison. You won't feel the damage today, but over time, they drain your hunger, blur your vision, and destroy your edge. You become what you tolerate. If you tolerate gossip, you become someone who wastes energy on nothing. If you tolerate excuses, you become someone who accepts mediocrity. If you tolerate people who complain, who fear risk, who chase comfort, you inherit their mindset. You pick up their habits. You start questioning your own power, and eventually you start settling. Not because you're weak, but because you kept standing next to weakness until it felt normal. You start lowering your standards so you don't make others uncomfortable. You start shrinking yourself to fit in. And before you know it, you're living a life 10 levels below your potential because you were too loyal to the wrong influences. You have to make a decision. A cold, clear, unapologetic decision. Cut out weak influences or let them cut down your future. There is no in between. You don't have to be cruel. You don't need drama, but you do need distance. You need boundaries. You need to protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. Every minute spent with someone who pulls you down is a minute stolen from your mission. Every conversation that makes you doubt yourself is a distraction. Or every person who keeps you comfortable is keeping you average. Greatness isn't built in friendly circles of average people. It's built in pressure, in high standards, in ruthless accountability. You need to be around people who challenge you, not coddle you. People who call you out, not let you slide. People who make you feel uncomfortable, not because they hate you, but because they want you to level up. That's the kind of influence that sharpens you. That builds the strong mindset you're chasing. Look around your life. Ask yourself honestly, who's pushing me to be better? Who's holding me back? Who do I feel drained around? Who do I feel inspired by? Start cutting. Start deleting. Start unfollowing. You don't owe anyone your potential. You don't have to explain your growth. You don't have to wait until they catch up. Some people were meant to be a part of your past, not your future. And the longer you keep them around, the longer you delay your rise. And this isn't just about people. It's about inputs. What are you feeding your mind? What shows are you watching? What music do you play every day? Or what memes, videos, messages are hitting your brain 24/7? Weak influences aren't just people. They're the habits, media, and routines that waste your time, numb your mind, and keep you distracted from your purpose. You think scrolling for hours is harmless? It's not. Every distraction chips away at your mental sharpness. You're either building focus or destroying it. There is no neutral. So protect your inputs like a warrior. Guard your mind like a fortress. Stop allowing garbage into your system. Read powerful books. Watch content that fuels your vision. Listen to people who've done what you want to do. Speak words that build, not break. You can't grow strong in a weak ecosystem. You can't build a championship mindset in a room full of spectators. You need to be around winners, fighters, builders, thinkers, even if they intimidate you at first. Good. That means you're in the right room. Growth starts where comfort ends. And here's the hardest part. Sometimes the weak influence is you. Sometimes the thoughts pulling you down are your own. The negative self-talk, the excuses, the fear, the laziness, the procrastination. You've got to confront that version of yourself with the same ruthless energy. You've got to cut out the weak voice inside that tells you to quit, to hide, to wait. Replace it with a stronger voice. One that says, get up. Push forward. Keep going. Train your inner dialogue like your life depends on it, because it does. Your mindset is a result of repeated conversations with yourself. If those conversations are full of doubt, fear, and passivity, your actions will reflect that. You can't keep entertaining weakness and expect to live strong. You can't keep letting low standards slide and expect to win. You can't keep tolerating low energy people, toxic environments, pointless habits, and soft thinking, and then act surprised when your life feels stuck. You are a product of what you allow. Change what you allow, and your life changes with it. So ask yourself today, what have I been tolerating that I know I shouldn't? What relationships, what habits, what thoughts have I let slide because it was easier than facing the truth? The answers might sting. That's good. That sting is the beginning of clarity. And with clarity comes power. Start cutting. Start upgrading. Surround yourself with strength. Create an environment that demands greatness. And if you can't find that environment, become it. Lead yourself. Be the standard. Be the influence you wish you had. Because the moment you stop tolerating weakness, internally and externally, is the moment your life begins to transform. And not slowly, instantly. With every cut you make, you free your potential. With every upgrade you choose, you shift your identity. That's the path to a strong mindset. No shortcuts, no softness, or just truth, action, and ruthless discipline over what you allow into your world. Speak to yourself like a warrior, not a victim. Because the words you speak into your own mind, silently or out loud, are the blueprint for how you live. Every sentence you whisper to yourself becomes a command to your brain. It's programming, plain and simple. If you constantly tell yourself you're tired, broken, unlucky, or not good enough, don't be surprised when you act like someone who is. If your inner voice is always full of blame, self-pity, doubt, and fear, your life will reflect that narrative. But if you speak to yourself with power, ownership, grit, and belief, even when you're in the dirt, even when you're bleeding, your mind will start moving in alignment with that identity. And when the mind moves, everything else follows. There is a brutal truth most people never grasp. Your life is a mirror of your self-talk. Not just when things are going well, but especially when they aren't. Anyone can be confident when life is smooth. Anyone can say, I've got this when the sun is shining. But what about when it's storming? What about when your plans collapse? When people doubt you, when your body is sore, your bank account is empty, and your goals feel 100 miles away? That's when the voice matters most. That's when you either talk like a warrior or collapse like a victim. A victim's voice is full of excuses. Why is this happening to me? I can't handle this. This always goes wrong. Victims seek sympathy, not solutions. They beg for permission to stop. They crave comfort over conquest. They believe life is something done to them, not shaped by them. Their words are soft, reactive, and soaked in weakness. And the danger is it feels good temporarily. It feels good to offload blame. It feels good to sink into hopelessness because it means you don't have to fight anymore. But that comfort turns into a cage, and every time you use that voice, you reinforce your own chains. Now compare that to the warrior. The warrior doesn't lie to themselves. They speak truth. But it's the truth that empowers, not the one that weakens. When they're tired, they say, I'm tired, but I'm still going. When they're in pain, they say, this pain is temporary, but I am not. When they fail, they say, I lost, but I will learn, and I will return sharper. The warrior knows pain is a part of growth. They don't run from it. They speak through it. Their words are weapons, sharp, focused, intentional. They don't complain, they command. They don't beg, they build. They don't wait, they move. And this is not about being delusional. It's not about fake positivity or pretending everything's fine when it isn't. It's about choosing a response that fuels action, not paralysis. The warrior voice doesn't ignore reality. It transforms it. It says, yes, this is hard. Yes, I'm behind. Yes, the situation sucks, but I'm still here. I'm still breathing, and I still have fight in me. That kind of language builds resilience. It creates an internal world that refuses to break no matter how bad the external world gets. That's power. You must realize every day you are speaking to yourself, whether you realize it or not. And if you don't control that voice, it will control you. If you don't lead your mind will follow the path of least resistance, which is usually fear, doubt, and weakness. So stop waiting to feel strong and start speaking strength. Tell yourself what you need to hear, not what's easy to hear. Declare who you are, even if you don't fully believe it yet. Say it enough times, with enough fire, and you will become it. There is nothing more dangerous than a person who has mastered their inner voice. Someone who can walk through hell and still say, I'm built for this. That's what separates champions from the crowd. It's not just talent. It's not just luck. It's the ability to stay mentally composed and focused while others fall apart. That composure is trained, and it starts with your language. You don't need external motivation when you are your own fuel. You don't need applause when your own words build you up. You don't need sympathy when your own voice drives you forward. And don't just speak power when you feel broken. Make it a habit. Daily. Consistently. Speak it in the mirror when you wake up. Speak it before you train, before you work, before you face something that scares you. Say, I don't fear this. Say, I handle pressure. Say, I show up no matter what. Say, there's not a challenge on earth I can't figure out. Say it like your life depends on it, because it does. The mind listens, the body follows. Over time, this isn't just talk. It becomes truth. You become what you declare. Most people are too casual with their words. They joke about being lazy, weak, tired, unlucky, and those jokes become identity. Stop that. Words are seeds. Every time you say, I'm not good enough, you're planting that idea deeper, and your brain will find evidence to support it. But when you say, I'm capable, I'm focused, I will figure this out, your mind starts shifting. It starts scanning for proof that what you're saying is possible. That's how identity is built, one word at a time. And when you catch yourself slipping into victim language, stop it immediately. Catch it, replace it out loud if you have to. If you say, I can't do this, follow it up with, that's a lie. I can, and I will. If you say, this always happens to me, reframe it, this is a test, and I'm being trained by the struggle. You don't let that voice win, not for 1 second. You fight it every time until your default becomes power, not pity. This is your